Hey everyone, I'm Danny and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about why we struggle to start something new. Chances are, as you watch this, you've probably got this amazing idea of something you want to get started on. It could be a new business, it could be a new project, it could just be a new hobby. The human mind is incredible at coming up with new and unique ideas that make our own lives better and the lives of those around us. Unfortunately, the sad truth is that many of us don't do anything with these amazing ideas. For every cool song written, for every awesome movie, there's another song or another movie which just lives inside someone else's head, and I think that's a huge shame. We have the best intentions of getting started on these new projects or ideas, but when all is said and done, more is said than done. So why does this happen? Why do we put off these really cool ideas which we know we're going to enjoy doing, we know we're going to bring our own life value? I think there's a few reasons why we struggle to get started, which I'd like to share with you on this video. Maybe you can identify with some of them. I know I can identify with all of these. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. So waiting for the perfect time to start. A lie we often tell ourselves: it's always okay to put something off until the next day. You know, if we're not feeling motivated, if we don't have the energy to get started now, then chances are our future selves can feel completely up for it. They will have the motivation, they'll have the time, and they can handle the task, so we don't need to in the moment. This is a totally common way of thinking, and this is procrastination at its finest. We tell ourselves that a future version of ourselves will somehow be better equipped to handle the situation and will somehow have more energy and more motivation. Of course, we know in our heart that that's just not true. It's just something we tell ourselves in the moment. Our future selves will likely be just as poorly equipped to handle the task as we are right now, but they'll probably just have less time to do it. The ideal time to start is today, not tomorrow. There's a quote I really like which says, "It's never too late to start, but it's always too late to wait." So reason number two, forgetting about the power of momentum. When we have something new to start, it's a very positive experience. You know, we're learning new stuff all the time. We've got all these ideas coming into our head. But once we start to realize the magnitude of what we're trying to do and we see all the steps involved, it can be very easy to get overwhelmed very quickly. This leads us to think that the task is too difficult, and then we just get procrastinated when we realize what we've got ourselves into. This is super common, but once we start to see the project as one gigantic thing, it can be really daunting, and we often find ourselves thinking that we just don't have it in us to do this whole project. How can we suddenly handle this massive task? It's important to remember that the most amount of momentum and energy we need is normally just in starting the task itself. Once we get going, once we're doing the actual thing, it's a lot easier to carry on. So just by breaking it down to just getting started, you'll find that that is the hardest barrier for you to overcome. That's the thing you need the motivation for. Once you can do that, the actual rest of the task it just happens. You know, you just go step by step by step and start working through and using that momentum as like a forward powering force. You know, to use Newton's law of motion, an object in motion tends to stay in motion, an object at rest tends to stay at rest. Reason number three is that we tend to overthink things. This is one I am especially susceptible to. We love to overanalyze and over-research every possible way of doing something before we actually get started. This can lead you to analysis paralysis, which, apart from being a really cool phrase to say, can kind of get you stuck in a loop of endless research. You know, if you're a photographer like me and you're trying to find like the newest camera or newest lens, then chances are you've experienced this, you know, trying to weigh up different options, which one should I get, and before you know it, weeks have passed by and you still don't have any new lens. So by getting yourself into the habit of eliminating choice and making quicker decisions, then you can really cut down on that barrier of entry and get yourself started as quickly as possible. You know, I love learning a new thing and I love starting a new project, but I know there's a point where that learning becomes procrastination, and I need to put myself out there and get started on it and learn just enough that, you know, I'm not making mistakes every step of the way, but I still make a few mistakes, because those mistakes are, you know, they're the failures that we can learn from. They're the best experience, they're the best teachers. If in doubt, start really small. Forget about these grand ideas of what the project could be. Just get started with the smallest amount of effort possible and use that momentum to take you on to the next step. My fourth and final reason why I think we struggle to get started on something is that we fear judgment from others and from ourselves. We tend to procrastinate when we're worried about failure and judgment from others. This is something I've really struggled with in the past when it's come to things like maybe doing an open mic night or starting a new business or just putting my own photography out there for the world. But there is one fundamental truth that I've learned over the years that has really helped me out, and that is no one really cares. Now, I don't want to sound negative. When I say no one cares, what I mean by that is that everyone is so preoccupied with their own lives. Everyone is the center of their own story. that what you do with your time and, you know, new projects you start like that, you know, people will cheer for you and people, you know, will take interest, but it's still a blip on the magnitude of their own lives. I find this perspective really freeing, because as long as I'm not doing anything to upset anyone else, I can kind of do whatever I want. You know, the idea of whatever you're starting being this really, really big thing and thinking that other people will think it's a really big thing is just not true. You know, you are projecting that level of magnitude onto someone else, and really they're probably not really thinking about it that much. There's a quote from the book Start Now, Get Perfect Later, which I would recommend everyone read, which basically says, making decisions to please others or to avoid criticism is like saving money into someone else's bank account. Of course, apart from others, we are also scared of seeing ourselves as a failure. I don't think one fail makes someone a failure. I don't think failing over and over again makes someone a failure. I think that this means that you are pushing through and you are learning something new and you're growing as a person. We have to learn as creatives, I think, to not attach so much of our own self-worth to the things we make. You know, yes, it's important to take yourself seriously and to take the things you make seriously, but at the end of the day, if someone thinks that, you know, the photograph you've taken is rubbish, that doesn't mean you're rubbish. It just means that they don't like your work, and that's not a reflection of who you are as a person. I don't think that you are your work, it's just something you do. So that's it from me. Those are the 4 reasons I think we struggle to get started on something. If you're watching this video and you've got an idea in your head and something you really want to give a go, please do get started. Please do share it with the world. You know, I think it's great when people create stuff and we all get to enjoy it together. If you've enjoyed this video, please do the whole subscribe thing, press the bell icon, do the liking, all that jazz. I would really appreciate it as I'm getting started. In case you couldn't tell, obviously this video is a reflection of me starting now and getting good at something later and trying not to overthink it. So hopefully if you've got any comments on how I can make these videos better or things you want me to talk about, then yeah, just let me know in the comments, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.